Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow reptiles, to Facepalm Sunday, the segment where we respond to stupidity and we facepalm together by watching ridiculous videos. Today's video that I'm responding to was actually made today, and I woke up this morning and saw on my Twitter feed that someone had sent me this video and they said you should respond to it. So I clicked on it, and boy, is it a gem. Do you guys remember that video that I made a week ago about Islamophobia? Ow, I just stubbed my toe. Where I discussed how a lot of people like to use the word Islamophobia to shut people up. People like to use the word racism as ways to shut down a conversation on all sorts of different types of topics. Because ultimately they don't like what you have to say, or they don't agree with what you have to say. Therefore, you're racist, you're sexist, you're Islamophobic, homophobic, whatever it be. Well, let's just jump right in, shall we?
Dan, you probably don't remember me. I asked you a question like 3 years ago that you said you'd reply to. Well, you didn't. I bet it was 'cause I got into a little tiffy-tiff with your buddy TJ, huh?
First things first, I'm sorry that I was not able to answer your question. I genuinely have never heard of you before. I've never seen you before. Maybe I replied to a comment of yours. I have no idea. It was 3 years ago. That was a while ago. But if you want to ask me questions, go to my Tumblr, MrRepzion.com, and you can submit questions on my Tumblr. And I answer a lot of controversial things that people ask me there. In terms of you having an if with the amazing atheist TJ, because I'm supposedly buddies with him, I'm acquaintances with TJ. Despite popular belief, I'm not super close to him. We don't Skype hardly ever. We hardly even talk to one another. Yes, he did promote me back in the day, but I'm not sure why there's this correlation that I'm the best buddies with TJ, the amazing atheist. Perhaps when TJ moves to Seattle, if he ever does, he'll get the chance to fuck me in the ass, in which case then maybe we'll be closer friends.
Well, that might be a little bit of a stretch. I'm sure you had your own reasons. I'm not bitter. Totally not bitter. Daniel, are you aware of a certain slur used against people of Arabic descent and people who are wrongly assumed to be of Arabic descent and thus for some reason are automatically assumed to be extremist Muslims? Well, it's a pretty popular slur here in the States, and I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with growl bread. Well, here you are, pretty much putting on that slur as a costume on video.
No. I have never wore a turban or any sort of headband material in a video before, but now that you've mentioned it, I probably should for a future video when I'm discussing the topic of Islam, or Hinduism, or any religion for that matter, because wearing headbands is a very diverse culture thing. It's not designated to one particular religion. They all have different names, and they all have different head styles. What I assume you're referring to is the photo that I put on Instagram of a towel wrapped around my head, and I said, Allah Akbar. Which, by the way, if you don't know what that means, simply means God is great.
Alright, so let's back up here a bit. You say you can't possibly be racist against Muslims because they're not a race. I'm not debating that Muslims are not a race, but you seem to misunderstand what people are talking about when they say your actions are racist. There's a phenomenon in the West where people hear Muslim, the word Muslim, and they automatically think of someone with brown skin, a hooked nose, a head wrap, or they think of a woman covered to head to toe in black, shapeless garbs. So, while you're correct in saying that Muslims are not a race, many Americans now think of Muslims in a racialized manner, in a stereotyped manner. This is highly similar to numerous racist caricatures of Jews and African Americans that were once very common. So while your intentions may be to parody strictly the religious aspect of Islam, you are unintentionally playing into the hands of anti-Arab racists by posting stuff like this.
I am playing in the hands of anti-Arab racists. Now I wonder if I had put that towel over my head and said a different phrase from another religious culture, Mary, God is great, that somehow people would not nearly be as upset. But that's because that's Christianity, and Christians aren't oppressed, although they would say differently. Also, Christianity is not so-called marginalized, therefore making fun of them in that way is perfectly okay. Also, Christians are not the minority, so therefore making fun of them, their religion is okay. But no, I wrap a headband around my head and say, Allah Akbar, God is great, and I implaned the hand of anti-Arab racists. You've got to be kidding me.
And I also actually love jokes about religion, if they're done well and they don't use stereotypes of marginalized groups. And yes, I prefer to punch up, though I do like some dark humor.
How then do we determine who is marginalized and who is not? So in other words, any joke that someone makes that is about a marginalized group or is about a stereotype is not okay. And here's where I would highly disagree, because one of the things that I like to do, and I am not a comedian, is I believe by acknowledging that these are stupid stereotypes, I like to make fun of them and poke fun of them at how ridiculous those stereotypes are. That's what I like to do. Now you can disagree with that, but I acknowledge that there are stupid stereotypes, and even in my original video, I even stated that there are numerous stereotypes regarding the religion of Islam. And people who just have dark skin in general, and anyone who wears a headband, how automatically they must be a terrorist, or automatically they must be a Muslim, when those headbands have a massive diversity of cultures all around the world.
Now, while I get that being a Muslim is not exactly the same as race or ethnicity, I think you might overestimate the choice that goes into being religious or being an atheist, for that matter. Studies now show that being religious or non-religious is heavily genetically determined. And as for those environmental bits and bobs that also help determine religiosity, have you forgotten that many people of all religions can be indoctrinated into a way of thinking that's really fucking hard to break out of?
Of course I know that. You're talking to someone who converted out of Christianity, and all of my family are Christians. You're talking to someone who nearly killed himself because of how toxic my religious household was for me personally, and the rules and regulations and repression that I had to deal with. And that conversion state out of Christianity to me now being a agnostic atheist was traumatizing for me. In fact, if you go back on my early videos, you can see how angry I was and ranting about religion almost every single week, which is something that I rarely do nowadays, is because I've grown past that. I've healed from that pain of feeling lied to all your life. So yes, I do understand how hard it is to break that indoctrination, that brainwashing, because I have went through that transition myself. It goes on for about another 5 minutes talking about choice and how growing up in your environment and how choice is not really, choice is illusion essentially. I'm gonna skip that out because there's really nothing to respond to regarding that segment of her video. Her video is linked down below if you want to watch it in full, because I don't want to be known for someone who edits somebody's video and tries to make them look bad. I always link my original sources, something that I used to never do, and I regret not doing it.
So, he loved evolutionary science, astronomy, quantum physics, and he understood a fair bit of it. He could also enjoy jokes about his own religion, but I knew there were some lines I didn't want to cross because they wouldn't be productive, and I cared about him. I cared about needlessly offending him. Do you care about people, Daniel?
Yes, I do care about people. Do I care about if I offend someone? No, not at all.
I would like to think that you probably do. So not every joke or statement you come up with needs to be said. And that picture you posted is hardly some grand artistic political statement.
Oh, I completely agree with you here. Not everything that I say, or anyone says for that matter, needs to be said. But as someone who is on social media, if I want to say something, if I want to make a joke, I have the freedom to do that. Now, of course, if I say something that's truly fucked up, I'm going to endure those consequences. I'm fully aware of that, and believe me, I'm probably more aware of my social media presence and what I say and how it affects people than most people on the internet, clearly, because we have people like Nash Greer and all these other stupid fucks on the internet who say some pretty homophobic, fucked up shit and just can't figure out why what they said was wrong. Am I gonna make mistakes in the future? Maybe. Have I made mistakes in the past? Certainly. But I'm always someone who learns from my past mistakes and tries to correct them in the future. But I myself am a very outspoken individual, and unless you demonstrate to me how what I said is actually wrong or something to that level, I'm not going just to believe what someone tells me. Oh, you shouldn't say this. Well, then give me a solid reason as to why what I said is wrong and why I should never joke about, let's just say, for example, someone who is a minority. Why are jokes about people who are not minorities okay, but people who are who are in the minority group, not okay? You know, I'm someone who has to have reasons for things if I'm going to believe something. Right or wrong?
It's a pretty fucking worthless contribution to the much-needed discussion of why religion is harmful.
You're absolutely right. My photo on Instagram of me wearing a towel over my head saying Allah Akbar did not contribute to anything other than some people finding it really funny. A few small select people not finding it funny. I'm not a comedian. I'm not gonna say it's a joke to dismiss any sort of criticism towards me, but if you follow my Instagram, you know that a lot of the stuff I put on there is pretty satirical jokes and not meant to be really taken seriously. I post pictures of goddamn Legos, for God's sake. Comic books, Star Wars, video games. I had a video of me talking with my fucking belly button on my Instagram. And I'm not really sure if you're in a position to tell me that I'm not contributing to discussion of why religion is harmful, considering that my entire old videos on my channel, and I have over 100,000 videos, are all about religion. Like, I've covered religion so much and talked about it in so many different ways that I'm shocked that you would even say something like that to me, of all people, considering that I know the damage that religion can do to people and I have videos to back every single thing up that I've talked about.
So you claim that you were targeting only extremists in this video, but your execution of satire is poor and you've unwittingly played out an anti-Arabic racist stereotype by donning that towel.
By donning that towel? Damn you, Mr. Repzion, you anti-Arab racist. You wore a towel on your head and said Allah Akbar. You are truly racist, white, cis, privileged scum. You man-hating, sexist, misogynistic fucking pig. How can you be racist against Muslims? And again, going back to my earlier point, if I had said any other phrase in a different religious culture wearing a headband, would you feel the same way? Most likely not. And I'm gonna say it in this video, Muslims are not special. Christians are not special. Anyone who is religious, I don't believe, religious in the context of having an ideology that preaches damaging beliefs, such as gay people should be stoned and killed, something that the Bible and the Quran teaches, have no problems making jokes about, whether they're marginalized or whether they are oppressed. If people are obsessed by me making fun or making jokes about these marginalized group of people because they hold these damaging beliefs, then so be it. I will deal with the consequences that come my way. And I sincerely mean that. Like, I'm not someone on the internet who is gonna run and cower and say, I'm so sorry, and make an apology.
So is it any wonder that Muslims might feel a little bit dehumanized by this?
Here's the thing that I don't understand. I had actually quite a few Muslims on my Islamophobia video, at least they were claiming to be Muslim, thought that that was a great video, and I'm not saying that just because people agree with me, therefore I'm right. I'm simply making a point here that there are people who identify themselves as Muslim who found that photo of me wearing a white towel over my head and saying Allah Akbar, they found it funny. So how then can you say in your position of power that I'm dehumanizing all Muslims, or I'm dehumanizing most Muslims, or this is how Muslims feel? Who are you to tell Muslims how they should or shouldn't feel? I don't understand that. Did some Muslim feel dehumanized by my photo? Perhaps. And if so, so what? I'm not going to apologize for them feeling dehumanized by an innocent photo. Do you have any idea how many emails I've received from Christians saying that they feel dehumanized because I've criticized their religion or made a joke out of their belief system? They feel dehumanized by that. So should I stop making jokes about Christianity? Should I stop criticizing Christianity because they feel dehumanized? No, I'm not gonna base my videos, I'm not gonna base my channel based upon what people feel. Because if that was the case, I wouldn't be on YouTube. I've been on YouTube long enough to know that if I make a video on any topic, if I could say that I love puppies, someone is not going to like puppies, someone's not gonna like dogs, they're gonna be a cat person, and they're gonna write some stupid comment about how I'm wrong for liking dogs, how they're angry at me for liking dogs, how they feel dehumanized that I don't like cats the same way that they do. I'm not sure what exactly you're looking for here by saying that some Muslims felt dehumanized by my posts. Because if they did, oh well. There's nothing that I can do. You won't get an apology out of me. And here's the thing, I don't go out of my way. I have never went out of my way to purposely try to offend people. It just so happens to be that I'm an outspoken individual. I voice how I feel. I don't hold back whatever I have to say. And people in this day and age don't like that. People don't like outspoken people. No matter what I talk about, people don't like me being open and being as blunt as I am. And if you don't like that, there's nothing that I can do to accommodate for you.
Because even if you didn't mean it to be, it's pretty much exactly what anti-Arabic bigots think is hilarious because it's true about all Muslims. Not to mention what they use as reinforcement for the harassment and assault of innocent Muslims. You're also taking something that is deeply precious to many non-violent Muslims who are not oppressing anybody, but rather being oppressed either by Western bigots or extremist Muslims. And you're basically saying, hey, your identity is a fucking joke.
And I believe anyone's identity that is rooted in a religion is a joke. Some more than others, obviously, because there's some religions that aren't really that damaging or harmful to anyone. But if you are a Muslim and you believe in the Quran, then you have a damaging ideology and belief system. Therefore, if you want me to feel pity for non-violent Muslims being oppressed because of what the Quran teaches, I feel no pity towards them. Do I want them to be oppressed? No. They deserve to have just as many equal rights and treated equally just as anyone else. But I would advise personally non-violent Muslims to rethink your religion, because I can't have pity for non-violent Muslims who believe in the Quran. And please don't be the person to say, well, they're not true Muslims if they don't believe this. I'm not gonna go down the no true Scotsman fallacy. That's just stupid. But I guarantee you people like the Westboro Baptist Church would say that they are being oppressed. And am I supposed to feel pity for them for having destructive beliefs and ideologies about the world? No! And that's how I view the whole oppression thing in regards to Islam.
A difference between mocking harmful ideas and mocking the marginalized people who hold those ideas, mostly because they've been indoctrinated by the real oppressors, by the real people that we should be, aiming our metaphorical guns at.
The real people, the real oppressors that we should be aiming our metaphorical guns at, which is, what, the parents of the indoctrination? I'm really confused by this statement here, because you're saying that we shouldn't mock marginalized groups because we should be focusing on the oppressors of the marginalized groups, of the people who indoctrinate. I'm confused by this statement here.
So, sure, I disagree with Muslims a lot, but why would you want to kick somebody when they're down? Do you know how many anti-Muslim hate crimes are committed in America post 9/11 that have been committed post 9/11? A fucking lot. Many Muslims have the short end of the stick already, and you're just gnawing at it like an impetuous little puppy dog.
Hate crimes are wrong, period. I don't even care if the people have ideological beliefs that are just fundamentally fucked up. I don't believe in hate crimes for anyone, so I'm not sure what you're trying to say here other than hate crimes exist a lot towards Muslims, and I understand that. No one deserves, even people who I disdain and find morally disgusting in terms of their beliefs, deserve to have hate crimes put against them. I would never call for someone to go out and shoot somebody of the Westboro Baptist Church, because that would be murder. And despite their toxic belief system, they have a right to believe what they want to believe and practice those beliefs. And I'm in full support. Despite me disagreeing with them, I'm in full support for them having that right. Just like I'm in full support of Muslims having the right to feel that gay marriage shouldn't be legalized or gays should be stoned. Do I agree with it? No. Do I feel sorry that some of them are oppressed for having these flawed beliefs? No. But your beliefs have consequences, and that's something that should be taken into consideration. Your actions have consequences? Well, you know what? Same with your beliefs. That's all I gotta say on this video. Her video is linked down below if you want to watch it in full. Thank you for watching. My name is Daniel Silsbach, also known as Mr. Repzion. This has been a Facepalm Sunday. Peace to rep out and have a fantastic Sunday, guys.